So the Moto X1 promises to break free from many of these artificial restrictions. In the interest of full disclosure, let me start by saying Google owns Motorola. I am also finally a YouTube partner, a Google-owned property. Now with that out of the way, let's see how Google plans to bring Motorola back in all its glory with a smartphone designed by you and assembled in the USA. In this 10th episode of Phone Wars, wait a minute. There we go, I couldn't have planned it better myself. Let's go over what could potentially be the smartphone of 2013, the Moto X. But first, let's see how Motorola has evolved over the years. In Phone Wars Episode 4, we learned how the Droid lineup of smartphones relieved the financial pressure Motorola faced as people traded in their old Motorola feature phones for smartphones made by Apple, Samsung, HTC, and LG. But the Droid just wasn't enough. Because of Verizon's lockdown bootloaders, many enthusiasts were frustrated to find out that they didn't have the freedom to customize and run the most up-to-date software. So even though performance was great, battery life excellent, and the phones were really strong and durable, some people just couldn't stand the bland bloatware and older Android OS that Verizon required the Droids to use. But all that changed a year ago when Google swooped in and completed its biggest, most expensive acquisition ever, the $12.5 billion purchase of Motorola Mobility. So while Google will continue to support the Droid development teams, many people have been speculating. No, that's not the right word. Many people have been hoping Google would shake things up and stake a bigger claim in the smartphone business. But over the past year, there has been a lot of doubt over whether Google would actually get into the hardware business at all. In the past, Google needed the support of hardware partners for things like Nexus smartphones and the Google TV. And the thinking was that if they ever decided to make their own hardware, Google might piss off its own partners. And even though the latest Google hardware has been ambitious and bold, it's also been expensive and impractical for most people. And in business, if you can't build, you buy. So last year, Google formally acquired Motorola. Before the acquisition, Motorola was bleeding money for about 3.5 years. So right away, Google started trimming the fat from the bloated and money-losing business. They laid off 20% of the workforce and sold off the network infrastructure and cable box businesses. And instead of announcing new hardware at Google I/O, Hugo Berra revealed a bootloader-unlocked Samsung Galaxy S4 running pure Android. So many analysts have been justifying the Motorola acquisition in terms of its 17,000 patents. A powerful and unfortunately necessary defensive weapon in the Silicon Valley patent wars. Well, the speculation is finally over. For the first time, Google is officially uniting its expertise in software and network services with Motorola's experience making great hardware to produce its first truly integrated device, the Moto X version 1. It's the first smartphone designed, engineered, and assembled in the USA, specifically Fort Worth, Texas. Deep in the heart of Texas. Motorola is now publicly a rebranded Google company, with a new logo and everything that goes with it. After the acquisition, CEO Larry Page put Mr. Dennis Woodside in charge. Since Mr. Woodside is the executive responsible for growing Google's international presence, he should have the experience required to push the Moto X into many different international markets. The premise behind this first true Google phone is the first smartphone that you can design yourself. Google started development by thinking of smartphones as closer to shoes or a watch. You carry it with you everywhere you go. Everyone sees what phone you're carrying, and they judge you on it. Yet it's the one thing you carry that's the least customizable today. So the Moto X promises customization, and I'm hoping it means more than just the case. Besides the somewhat obvious replaceable battery or expandable storage options, the Moto X will rely heavily on sensors to tailor a unique smartphone experience. It will know when it's in your pocket, know when it's in your hand, and it will know when you want to take a picture and fire up the cameras. The Motorola CEO called the Moto X Google's lead device that will compete against the iPhone and Galaxy S4 with broad carrier support. The wording and timing of the ad campaign emphasizes Google's intentions to position the Moto X on the basis of freedom. Freedom from locked bootloaders, freedom from onerous cell contracts, freedom from artificially limited devices, and specifically for Google, freedom from the Motorola Verizon exclusive Droid relationship in particular, and freedom from relying on hardware partners in general. While the Open Handset Alliance prevents Google from offering a special version of Android to any one particular OEM, including Motorola, it doesn't prevent the Moto X development team from working closely with Google to the point where we could see future general Android builds particularly optimized for Moto X hardware. Motorola wants to do with phones what Google has done for search. In the same way Google customizes the web to particular users' tastes and interests, the Moto X hopes to offer a customized smartphone experience. So if you want the best Android experience, the Moto X must be your next phone. Now Google needs to avoid the mistakes that created a highly fragmented Android ecosystem, and I hope Mr. Woodside knows this. At D11 he said, 2 years ago Motorola launched 40 phones. This year we'll launch a handful that will show the future of the company. So while there might be some low-cost Motorola phones in the pipeline, the Moto X will be Google's flagship hero device. If Verizon and other carriers hope to ride this potential tidal wave of demand, they will definitely have to carry the Moto X. And under Mr. Woodside's international leadership experience, the Moto X should have strong support from around the world. And while Verizon will continue to sell the Droid line of phones, they'll probably continue to suffer from the notoriously late software updates that Verizon imposes. So the Moto X1 promises to break free from many of these artificial restrictions, and this could not come at a better time. And in the interest of full disclosure, this may be the Android phone that breaks my 5-year allegiance to the iPhone. If you'd like to support the channel and order your next device, please check the Amazon links below to make sure you're getting the best deal. Now's the time where I personally thank all the most recent subscribers. Welcome to this YouTube channel, a place where I hope we can share our ideas and opinions about innovative things that might one day qualify to be our next digital appliances. I try my best to learn and share things that lead to informed decisions. So if you liked this video, click the squares from your computer or check the links below to watch related episodes. Especially I'd recommend the 2013 Google I/O keynote highlights for more hints regarding the future of Android. I always read each and every comment, and thanks in advance for sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter. As I've said before, each episode takes a lot of work, but I always try to release at least one video a week. Every comment and like keeps me motivated and also helps other people find the channel. And I do use your feedback to figure out what future videos I should work on next. For example, in the future I hope to dive deeper into chip wars by adding GPUs while finally adding mobile and PCs to the Gaming War series. And how about Don Matrick leaving Microsoft for Zynga? How do you like them apples?